I've been asked to show you how to make the macarons, and I thought it was a good idea. I get all my supplies from Lisa at Rose Garden Patchwork, and she designed this and created it, and I have asked her if she minds me showing you how to make it, and she said she didn't mind at all. I'll show you how I make it, and not from her pattern, because her pattern, as it says, all the rights of the pattern and kits are reserved. But as you can see, you do get very comprehensive instructions on how to do it. She shows you, this is the kit I sent off for, and I chose this. She's so cute. I just love her. And it comes with little beads, tiny little beads. They just grabbed my imagination. And you put the zip in. And that was what came with the kit. Here's another small one. And I embroidered some thistles on that from the Lorna Bateman book. It's just very simple French knots and little, running stitch there. On the back, I put that. I think that's a Tilda fabric, I'm not sure. Oh, inside, this is Liberty, I think. Does it matter? Do I need to tell you? And you can put your rings, whatever you want in there. Fits quite a lot of rings, but you can see how big it is. I thought I'd show you that to show you the size. You make it in 2 parts, so a little bit of fabric I had. Secure it on the back. I'll show you how to do all that. But I'm going to show you how to make this size, because I like this size. Again, I did a bit of embroidery, but you don't have to. On the back, I made a quilt for my granddaughter-in-law with, I made a bag. And funnily enough, I also made a tissue, pouch. Hang on, I'll get it. And it's quite handy. You can put your credit cards or whatever if you're just going out. But this is a glow in the dark, Lewis and Irene, and last night on the shelf, it was really lit up. It was really lovely. And so I used that for her on her, that's right, on her quilt, on her bag. And what have I got? Anything in here? I've got some rings. Just take those out. You can see the difference. They're my rings. You can see how much you can get in there as opposed to this size. Look, you can get that one in there. So I'm going to show you how to make this big one. So what do you need? Some fabric. You need your supplies from Lisa. Here's a big one, a small one. Can you see the difference in size? You also need to go around the edge, as you can see. You need a zip. Now, she sells all different coloured zips, and I love her zips because they've got this lovely heavy pull, drop pull. Forget what they call it, I don't know. Anyway, I like it. It goes really nicely when you have it on your macaron. Can you see? And it's a good, twist it round as you open, because it's all hand sewn. Okay, the other thing, of course, you need is some fabric. I just pulled a few out of my suitcase. I don't know which one to use at the minute. And this is the template you get with the pattern when you if you send off for her pattern. That's the size for the small one. But I'm making the big one. And I had to make up my own size because she doesn't do a kit for the big one. So what shall I use? What do I fancy? You can do the front and back different and the inside's different, whatever you like. I have started using this and I put it in the middle and it holds your jewellery and it also holds a needle if you wanted to use it as a needle case. But yeah, it's handy. So I pop those in now, but I'll show you that as we go along. If you choose something like this, you've got to decide, you know, how you want that in the middle, don't you? It doesn't really go on this little bit of fabric I've got because it's too near the edge. Oh, that would quite go, wouldn't it? I've drawn round that, and that's the front. So if I put that on there, that's what's going to be on the front. That looks all right, doesn't it? That's rather a happy one. But have I got enough on the edge? Because it's got to be a 1/2 inch to go round. So it would need to move. It would be on the edge. I'm happy with that. I like that. Okay. I use the sandpaper always. It's just you know, literally on a piece of, I don't know what, wood. And I'm going to cut that so that that is my piece. Now the other thing you need is a pen. I use the friction pen. So that is what I want in the middle. And then I've made myself a circle. And I want a 1/2 inch around the outside. So that's the middle. It's 4 3/4. I'm going to draw around that. I love these friction pens. You just have to iron that and it comes off, even off the paper. Right, 4 3/4. That's what you need for the large macaron. I'm going to draw around there. Now, do I like that? See, that's called auditioning. I'm auditioning that. I'm not keen. It's hard to imagine, isn't it? Am I keen or not keen? I'd like it there, but you see, I haven't got enough here. What happens if I put it on here? Have I got enough here? I've got enough here. Why don't I use that one? Silly Billy. Right. I'll use that one. Okay, I'm going to draw around just so I can see. That's what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to look. Oh, I like that. Yes, I'm happy with that. So if I give myself that little half and half there, I need that much. Yeah, looks about right, doesn't it? I'm going to draw around that one now. Doesn't have to be, you know, exact, because it's all going to be at the back. That's all going to come off with my iron when I just run the iron over. I love them. Now, how does that look? I like it. I like it. I'm going to cut this out. And rule one for me, these will do for my little, these little bits will do for my little, you know, my 5-inch squares. I'm just using odd little bits of fabric. You can see me using that, can't you? It doesn't have to be exact, because that's just going to be round the back. You're not going to see it. It's all going to be covered up. Happy? Now, oh yes, I was saying, my rule one is never sew over creased fabric. Always press it. Always iron it. I'm just going to iron that. It's all right, isn't it? And where's my large macaron? Here it is. That was going to sit on there. Now, what I do is I use a small piece. Have I got it in my basket? Here it is. That's going to sit on there. And so I put that on there. Just gives it a nice little bit of padding. This is just a thin, just what I'm using. I've got a load, and I'm using it for my 5-inch squares. That's going to go on there. Now what you've got to do is get that round there. Now the only way to do that, or the right way to do that, is to do a little bit of running stitch around here. I'm using what I like to use, 100% polyester. It's a strong thread, Gutermann. And I usually use a very, very light grey. It goes with anything. So here we are. Now, just to mention what I've found when I do this little gathering stitch is I've got an old thread in there. How far? There we are. It's got a very small eye, this needle. Will I be able to thread it? Put the needle to the thread. So make sure you've got a good light. You want to not worry about that, but I'm going to leave that in. Just for now. Right, so I've got a good knot. The way I do a knot is a quilter's knot. I hold it, I wrap it round, I get hold of it, and I pull it, and there you have a knot. I do that again. I lay it on, I wrap it round, I pull it through, and there I have my knot. I've got a big knot there. Now, don't take a shortcut when you do this and think, oh, I just do a few big stitches round. Because what you need to do is have it very tightly gathered. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to be about there, but, you know, just a little bit away from the edge, otherwise it'll fray. And I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to do some small running stitches. Now that is because, let me show you, when you pull that up to gather it, you don't want big gaps, you want it all together. And if you did big stitches all the way around, you get big gaps, which you don't want. So just take your time, enjoy putting the needle in and bringing it up, putting the needle in and bringing it up. Just pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. Now here we go. Here we go. I've gone round. How are we going to pull that? Are we going to pull it by getting hold of this end as well as that end and pulling it together? Or are we going to do one at a time? Now, we need to put this on top because our whole goal, if we pull it together, is to pull it round. Now, can you see why we wanted to do little stitches? Because if you'd have done big stitches, it wouldn't have pulled in half as neatly and you would have got a lot of okay. And you need a strong cotton. I'm going to knot that now. If my needle was still threaded, I could just do a couple of back stitches, but I've got these two ends. Oopsie, am I in shot? And put my finger on it. Do a couple of knots. There we are. Let's have a look, shall we? Little pucker there. Not too bad. You see, small stitches. I know I'm saying it over and over, but small stitches gives you a nice, even That's not too bad, is it? I had in my box this piece of Liberty. I thought it went quite well, so I thought I'd do the other side with that. And to save you watching it twice, I cut out a piece of wadding, the same, and did my circle, gathered it round, and there it is. I thought they went together. I could have done it the same, but I just thought I'd have a contrast. So what do we do now? Well, what we do now is thread our needle up again. And we need quite a lot of thread. And we really do want a big knot. We want to really knot this. So I'm going to go round several times. And it's quite a long piece of thread because you'll see what we're going to do with it. There's no point having a knot that can easily get dragged through that fabric. We want it to hold. Now I've done, oh. That's a horrible knot, isn't it? But that'll do. Okay, shall we start with this one? I've got it in the right place, haven't I? Yes. So you can just adjust it if you feel you want it a little bit over this way, a little bit over that way. So what I'm going to do is take a couple of stitches. My horrible knot. And I'm going to directly opposite do the same. Because I want to pull that in very tightly. Can you see how I'm really giving it a nice... Don't go too near the edge, otherwise it'll compromise the fabric. Gonna go. You can just decide where to go. I'm just catching it. Giving it a nice, secure pull. Some more cotton. Through there. It's fiddly, isn't it? It's fiddly. But worthwhile, because you'll get a lovely job. And it'll make the next stage easier. What you do at each stage makes every stage easier. So you need long bits of cotton. I'm not going to make that stretch. I'll get myself a long bit. Nearly done. Just take a little back stitch there. And that will give you the strength to pull that up. I think we're nearly done. Looks like my thread is running out again. I'll tie those two together. That looks good. That's what we're aiming for, a smooth edge. So there we are. So it's putting the zip in time. Am I using cream or white? Oh, that's the point, isn't it? Just when you think you're ready for this filming lark, you're not. Let me look. Definitely cream. Definitely cream. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Well, we won't get rid of it, but, you know, we'll use it next time. So I noticed on Lisa's how to make for the kit, she doesn't tell you to do this. She just tells you to do the running stitch and then pull it tight as you can. And I think when you make the small ones, you can get away with that. But when you make these big ones, I think it's important to do this because you can see the tension, which is what we need, that tension for putting the zip in. Just my preference. I'm just saying it's, yeah, just my preference. Okay, so we need to fit the zip round here. And so what we do is, first of all, we put right sides together and sew along there. Let me undo it. Oh, I have to work. I'm not a... Right, so we have to put right sides together. I just use a clip and a clip. And I'm just going to sew along there. I mean, if you've got a sewing machine out in your craft room, just whiz across there. I don't have a craft room. I don't have a sewing machine out. If I want to do some sewing on my machine, I have to get it out. And that's not what I'm doing at the moment. So here I go. I'm just going to sew across just to secure it. Got to be in shot, which means I've got to put my hands further under. If you saw my contraption for filming overhead, you would really laugh. But your natural way is to sew with the things near you. Well, I do, but I've got to lean over a little bit. Anyway, all waffle. How are you? Are you all right? Bearing up? Well, if you're in New Zealand, you don't have to bear up, or Australia. Mind you, maybe you do if it's too hot. Oh, I could do with a lovely, warm, sunny day outside. Just going to go across through there. Going to go across again. Pull that together. Can you see that? I don't know what you can see. If I do some more of these, I'll show you how. I'm going to have to get myself sorted out, aren't I? I'm going to cut this little zigzaggy bit off just because it will be too thick. There we are. There we are. Okay, what's next? We want to cover this piece because this is going to be inside. To hide it, I need a piece 1 inch by 1 inch, and look, that's 1 inch. It's not much, is it? 2.5 centimeters by 1 inch. There we are. That's what we need. That's all we need. I've got this bit of fabric here that I used to hand, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to fold that edge in. I'm going to fold that edge in, just so we don't have any raw edges. So I need to tuck that underneath. That holds it nicely. Can you see? Tuck that underneath. I can put that on it if I want to. And then this bit's tucked in, and that's just going to go across there. And I'm going to just sew that in. For the moment, I thought, oh, it's on the wrong side. This is the wrong side of the zip. But of course, that's what we want, because this is going to be on the inside of our macaron. I'm just going to carry that thread through the little tab over to the next side. And catch it down. Right. This side too, I'm going to push that through that fabric so it's handy. Push that through. Push that through. And cut it. That's it. That hides that last bit. So there I've got the edge of the zip neatened up. And you see when I open this one up, I've got my rings in there still. That's what we've just done. Covered the inside so that you don't see the join. If I turn it to the other way, there's the outside. I can snip that off in a minute. Okay. Now I've got to show you how to put this round there. And if you see on Lisa's zips, there's a little, if I come in close, can you see it? There's a little line that goes across. And that's the line I'm going to sew along to keep it, help me keep straight. I've got to gather this zip. I don't think it needs gathering much. So that's the zipper preparation done. Just going to do a little back stitch there. Righty-ho, now I've got to fit that to that. And come up. And I'm just going to take a little thread. I hope I'm in shot. Take a little thread and come up. Now, don't worry about getting it very close together, because you can always come round twice. You can go round again. Once you've got it in place, and can you see how having that lovely edge is really working for me now? undo that, make it easy. Easier. As I say, it's not difficult just to do a little running stitch, it's fiddly. Yep, we're going okay. So that little bit of gathering is an important step. Just pulls the zip in. Oopsie. It just pulls that zip in. That line on that zip is so handy for me. It means I get it on straight. I'm coming round. So if I open it up, I'm pushing that zip up with my finger here, pushing it up to meet the edge, this last bit. Got my finger behind there, pushing it up. We've got such a lovely smooth edge on the fabric. There's not much, there's no puckers to get hold of. But boy, that's lovely. Look, last little bit. Hope you're in shot, yeah. Last little bit. Well, that went in really well, didn't it? And you see, sitting up nicely. And it's all secured round the edge, as if by magic. So just coming round to the end again. This end bit, you just have to watch that it can get caught. You don't want that to break because the teeth of the zip are all round. Pull my thread quite tightly because we really want it secure. And I'm doing this with my finger inside, holding it in the right place and pushing it up so that it's on that line of the zip all the time. Makes it look so neat. There we go. We're right at the end now. It's catching. That's okay. It'll do that with you probably. There we go. Push that through. And to push that, oh, I didn't want it to go through there, but you won't see it. And secure it in there. Okay. Well, we have a macaron. It's okay, isn't it? And what's left to do? Oh, let's check our, yeah. And I'm going to make I think I'll just make the two insides with this fabric, probably, I'll say. And this is what we're going to be doing next. So I cut a piece of the wadding the same size as the macaron, and I cut the fabric to have a seam. That's as accurate as it has to get. I just cut this out. Quite okay. There we are. Get it in shot. And that's going to go in the middle. So what I'm going to do now is just do a little running edge around there. And I mustn't forget to put the magnet in. I've just done the threads to save us time. Take that out and pop that in. Oh yeah, look, my thimble's stuck to it. That's going to be handy then, isn't it? So we want that inside. Better take that off, otherwise I'll get stuck. Just position that in there. That's our innards. And you can pull that in to the right. Here's our macaron. Just to show you the edge. And I've done one side. What I do is I peel that zip back and I just sew it round the edge. Pull that bit up, pull it back and sew it. Pull it up and then pull that bit back and sew it. And then you get it really beautifully in, and it's a little bit padded with the wadding. This one. Going to be a bit big? Right, if it's a bit big, what we do, we could cut the whole thing smaller, but all we need to do is pull it in. And that way we get it how we want it. Pull it in a little bit more. I'd rather pull it in than it be too small. See, look, that's fitting nicely now. Could be a little bit smaller, couldn't it? But when we start sewing, I think you'll see it'll be all right. There, it's just a question of pulling it to size. Okay, let's have a bash at sewing it in and finishing off. Right, I'm going to get my cotton underneath. And I want it on that line again for the zip. Can you see? Can you see that line there? There's a little line there, and that's where I want it. Ah, we've done it. Okay. I'm just going to go round that line. Can you see that line on the zip? It just gives me that so I get it straight. So I hate it if it's wonky. I don't want to go too near the teeth of the zip. You can see that's just right. So when we do the zip, you've got that line on the zip. And doing this inside, we've got the line too. Oh, we're nearly there. We've done it. Holding that on there. And that's holding that in there. That's the inside. Close it up. And there you have it. It starts off with that. And a few pieces of fabric, a zip, a little bit of wadding, and maybe a magnet if you so choose. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.